a real character. He's one of the major people. He's been at Rangers probably longer than anybody else who's at the club now. He's been the longest serving member there, and my sympathy goes to his family, really, and everyone that knows him, because he really was a character, and he'll be well remembered, and I think that he'll receive a lot of great attention from the support, probably even on Thursday night.
For those on the outside, they might see the job title kit man, but that probably doesn't do justice to the type of influence and popularity he had at the club.
Oh, correct. He was a real character about the dressing room as well. Kit man was just part of his role, but in that respect, he got to speak to the players regularly, speak to everybody. He was on the touchline at times. He was also putting out the numbers when they were making substitutions. So he was a real character, and he was a funny man too. Jimmy Bell was a real character. He's one of the major people. He's been at Rangers probably longer than anybody else who's at.
The time has come to say goodnight, for every road must end to the ones who care and are always there, our very special friends. Let's say goodnight to those we love, and maybe shed a tear. But before we close, let's think of those we love who can be here. Let's raise a glass to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friends. And when it's time for us to go, and our long journey ends, you'll never be alone to see. You'll be with absent friends. So let's raise a glass to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend.
Hi, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself this evening is Big Stevie, Jaffa and Port Bear. How are you doing, Stevie?
Aye, Southside, aye, we're all feeling it today. For a simple reason is Jimmy Bell was one of us, mate. You know, he epitomises everything. A true Rangers man, family man, working class guy that just loved his club to bits. And we're all feeling it today for his family. And can I just say, on behalf of every bear out here in Drumchapel, we send our condolences to his family. What a man, a jokester and loved by all. I mean, I've watched the tributes flying in the day for players, ex-players, managers, you name it, everybody. And it just shows you how much he was really loved. Jimmy Bell was more than a kit man, mate. Jimmy Bell was a bear. And that's why he was loved Southside.
Aye, Stevie, he came across as if he was one of us, eh? Just a supporter. He would have been on the terraces with us, you know. But also on behalf of everybody in Rangers Radio, we wish to send our condolences to the Bell family and friends. Jaffa?
Yeah, just like the Big Stevie and yourself there, Southside. Really sad day. He was just a bear at heart. Always, you know, wore his the shirt, they put the crest on his chest. He was a Rangers man through and through, and it is a really, really sad day. And like everyone else, my thoughts go out to his family and friends.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking there, you know, obviously started off at parts of Hamilton and became the bus driver, and obviously got to drive the team bus eventually. But to get the next job, obviously being a kit man at Ibrox, he must have just loved that at the time, getting that job for himself.
It's all your dreams coming at once, mate, innit? You don't, if you're not going to make it as a footballer, you know, to get that job, you know, as you said, starting as bus driver, must have been very highly thought of, mate, and very trusted to be taken into that inner circle to become a kit man, to replace the older fella, I forget his name. And he's been there through all the times where it's been trouble times and all the good times, Southside. So tip my hat off to Guy, true blue, loved the club, and like you said, mate, just echo your feelings. Big, massive, send of condolences to the Bell family, mate. An absolute legendary club, in my opinion. And another thing, sorry, mate, a lot of players, one of the last players I've seen give him massive high praise, a guy you could go and talk to. Maybe you don't want to talk to management, maybe you don't want to talk to your teammates. Jamie Bell seemed to be a guy that the players all trusted to talk to about personal stuff. Jermaine Defoe was one of the last ones who spoke very highly of him.
Yeah, and like you say, Paul, Jermaine Defoe wasn't at the club that long, but it showed you the affection that he had for Jimmy Bell, obviously. He was an infectious character. I think sometimes he could give you one of the looks or tell you where to go when it suited him, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? You got what you seen with Jimmy, but it was Doddy you were thinking about, mate, before that, but it was tragic today when I heard the news. I was surprised. I got a text in and I thought I'll wait till maybe something else hits official, but it was sad. But Stevie, like I said, he would have been on the terraces with us most weeks if he hadn't had the dream job of being the Rangers kit man. And like you said as well, the players, it was the affection that the players have showed towards him. It's been absolutely brilliant to see it.
Unbelievable, mate. And you're right, he would be in the terraces with us if he wasn't the kit man or the bus driver. That's a given. And also, as you said, the tributes for the players and managers. Mate, the one thing that you read between the lines, everybody said he used to tell them what it meant to pull that jersey on and what that badge meant. He let every single one of them know. And to that end, we would always say, who in that dressing room's a cat and this and that. I mean, you've got guys like Jimmy Bell. He'd have been letting them know all the time when it was good enough and when it wasn't, and what it meant to wear that jersey. And it sadly must be just for me, because he's a working class family man and he just loved his club to death. He could be one of us on here tonight talking about his team. That's the kind of feedback I get about the guy. He just loved the Rangers and he was loved by all. Everybody came into connection with him. He ended up in their hearts, the way the man put himself out there and he helped everybody. He was a bit of a growler, but funny with it. No, can I get a strip? No, you're not getting one. And then you go down 2 hours later and the strip's there for you, He's just a joker too, and just a true legend. He's got to be deeply, sadly missed by the Bells, though. More so the staff, let's be honest. The staff are close to him,
100%, Stevie. Aye. While he was at Rangers, being our kit man, Jaffa, he's seen 18 league titles, 3 lower league titles, 10 Scottish Cups and 17 League Cups. So you can imagine that he's had his hands in every one of them.
Oh, brilliant. That's amazing. I mean, those stats alone are just staggering, Southside. I mean, he's lived the dream, as you guys were saying. I mean, he's just part of the inner fabric of our club. And, I mean, I think he's the only kit man I can say that I've ever known in my life of any football club. And that gives you an indication of the representation that he had for our club. Those numbers are incredible. I mean, from Graham Souness, you saw the videos today that Rangers released with Souness and Walter Smith and even John Gregg and the kind of relationships he's had with all those players, Brian Laudrup and Jermaine Defoe, as was mentioned earlier on there, Lorenzo Lamoruso talking about him. And one of the stories I always find very funny about Jimmy Bell was about when he used to take Derek Ferguson home. He used to take him home in the bus and then drive it into his street. He used to drop him into the council house in Hamilton and drop him off, which I thought was brilliant because it was to keep him out the pub. That was why he took him home.
He's a character. He's been there under 12 managers, in his time at Glasgow Rangers as well, and obviously he's seen the good and the bad.
Aye, 100%, mate. And one thing, that speaks volume about the man is the fact that every one of these managers, mate, stuck by him. So they must have seen, the kitman sounds like a small job, doesn't it, Southside? But to think these guys kept this man around, and that's got to have came from the players. Again, a guy they trusted. They could have been out and employed on a new kitman, jobs for the boys, for the Dutch contingent to come in, or the manager to come in, etc., etc. But this man was stuck by, by all managers and by the club, which is testament to the man, to how highly we thought of Ibrox, mate. So, that man must have been wanting about. If it was me, I'd be my chest out thinking, I'm in the best job in the world. I am not a footballer, but I've got probably the second best job in the world. Looking after all these guys. What a man, mate. I worked at Ibrox with Rocksteady for a long number of years, and I got to meet him several times, and he made time for everybody, mate. A true gentleman.
Aye, 100%, mate. There's, like you say, when you look at some of the tributes that have been paid to that, and people have spoke about him, and obviously Douglas Park knew him very well as well, we've been in parts of Hamilton at the start, so he's had high praise and fully deserved for what I've sort of seen today, guys, and but obviously if anybody would like to come on and speak about Jimmy Bell, if they wish, or any story or that, obviously we've got a massive game but coming up on Thursday, and obviously that's where our attentions were all going to be turned at the time until the news this morning. But hopefully, if people want to come on and mention it or speak about it, then we'll gladly talk about it. But obviously we're focusing now, guys, towards Thursday, our biggest game in Europe since probably 2008, Stevie.
Yep, that is the half. 100%. I mean, it's the scale. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm get the battle fever on the now. As soon as that whistle went at the Chamber of Secrets, I'm just we've got bigger fish to fry here, guys. This is major for our club. Major. If we can turn this around and get to a final, who knows? We're in dreamland, aren't we? We're really in dreamland, Southside, and man, I just hope they can do it for Jimmy Bell, I just hope they can get it by the line, get it over the line and dedicate it to the man, But no, big game, big game. Looking forward to it. And as you know, I'm in the flight path out here in Drumchap. Well, I'm waiting in the Luftwaffe. Not behind that's to do with the rocket launcher already. Don't you worry about it. We'll be all right, lads. We'll be all right.
Aye. Jaffa, obviously, Ibrox and Thursday night. I mean, play really got to get. Obviously, the team need to be playing well and try and keep the crowd going with them. But even when it's no, we'll need to start rocking Ibrox again. And Thursday night, they are a good team. You can see they're a good technical team, but they're a young team as well. And they play around the world and they play in different leagues and that. And maybe people say they get used to the atmosphere, but we're right close to that part, Jaffa, and we could get right in and top of them.
We can, Southside, and that's the role that I think we've all known that we can play at Ibrox, and there's none more so than Thursday night. What an important role the fans can play. If we get that place bouncing, and I've got no qualms at all that the Ibrox will be absolutely rocking on Thursday night. And as Stevie said, if we can do it not only for the club, but do it for Jimmy Bell, do it for one man, I'm sure Jimmy Bell would love nothing more than turning that result over. And what an opportunity we've got, Southside. A great opportunity. I've got no doubt the place will be bouncing. The hottest ticket in town, I think I heard Ox describe it as. It most certainly is the hottest ticket in town.
Aye, 100%. Port, I think I heard you the other night when you were talking about them. They are a good team technically, in the first leg they had the two centre backs missing, and they've obviously got them coming back. But they are a strong team and they're quite technical with their wee intricate passing, Port.
I've got a massive, I watch all teams in Europe, mate, and I'm a big football fan, regardless what league it's in, mate. And I've watched Leipzig grow as a team in Germany, for a team that played in the 4th division, like where we were, around at the same time we were. Southside coming up for the lower divisions, and they come right through, and then they became part of the RB group, who obviously pumped a lot of money into them. And they've got £200 million worth of talent, mate, in their team. It's absolutely incredible. and they've got a few players coming back. The boy Campbell, who's their holding midfielder, who's absolutely outstanding, Slovenia international. They've also got the boy Sinkerman, who's a Ghanaian international. He's one of the first. These guys are first team players, mate. You know, they're a really, really decent side. And obviously we know the dangers of Nkunku, Omo, etc. So I think we're up for a big, big game, mate. They've got some players back, but like I said the other night, mate, there's something in the air. There's something in. I think every bear's feeling this, mate. That we're going to the final. I can't put it another way. Southside, we are going to this final. The Ibrox Roar, there's fans and these players sort of last chance alone to put themselves into a final, which will probably some of these guys might never play again, mate. It's incredible, mate. Big, massive sellout in a full house, mate, and I think that could be the big difference.
I think with them being a young team, I know people always say they go up, but they're playing different. They've played all Germany and they're playing in Europe, and people say they might get used to it. But Ibrox, if you looked at even, I thought back to Braga at Ibrox, in the first 5-10 minutes, they were kicking the ball out the park. Obviously, the crowd's right in tap, the place is bedlam. Hard for them to talk in here. And Stevie, things like that, where you might get that chance in the first 5-10 minutes to get a goal. Obviously, it'll no frighten them for the whole game, but surely the first maybe 10-15 minutes when we're hoping to attack, the atmosphere at that point, we're hoping it'll be right electric, eh?
Aye, 100%. No doubt the atmosphere's a factor, you know, but we've got to remember, they play in front of big crowds too. It's still, the atmosphere that will give our boys a lift. Give our boys, get into them and get right in for the off. See, we go and test them for the off, the way we did against Braga. We've just got to watch that this team here has got the quality to belt us the break with that Kakaka. That boy is lightning. He is, and we just need to watch we don't push too much and get caught. But fade it off. I found out watching the game, the highlights again in Germany, when we started to get the bit of the ball and started to go at them, their defence was the greatest. I know they've got two centre-halves back, but I mean, they get beat there 3-1 with Gladbach. Was it Gladbach? It beat them 3-1 there with a strong team they had out. So, because they're fighting to get in their European place, the Bundesliga. So, they fielded a strong team. But yeah, you're totally right, Southside. The electric atmosphere for the off, you know, if the Bears just attack them, and the big one for me is when they're trying to play out for the back, get and tapping them, press. If we press them, I think we'll get change with them guys, I really do. And I'll be capable, of course we are. The place will be bedlam, absolute bedlam, man.
I think when you said atmosphere, and I know you're talking about running the German leagues, at the game last Thursday, Jaffa, you didn't really hear them at all during the game. You know, obviously when they got their goal, but they were, to me, they were a bit like Braga. They don't carry a right vocal support. So I was a bit disappointed when I came out because we lost the late goal. But to me, I just think Ibrox were more intimidating for their players. And obviously it's to give our players that know what it's like, so they'll be looking for it. But I just think with us being so close to them, round about the park, it might just be enough to unsettle them for that wee bit at the start, Jaffa.
It's like everything, Southside. History counts for so much, and they've not got any history. That's why they've not. And I totally agree with you. Braga you and me were in Braga, and the Braga fans were, I don't know what it was, they were clapping sticks or something. They were hitting together, and I whatever they were doing. And it was irritating. I'll tell you for one thing. But and I noticed that on watching it. I wasn't in Leipzig last week, Southside. But I noticed that they weren't as vocal and as loud as a lot of the other German clubs, like for example Hamburg, or even Munich, or I dare say even Borussia Dortmund, who are a very loud support. They don't have that history. So I agree with you. I think it's all about what we do on Thursday night. It's all about the players' mindset and the application. And if we get at them the same way as we did with Braga from the very first ball, and get on top of them and pin them down, I think we can get change out of their defence. I think they're a good team. I'm not going to say they're not. Of course they are. They're very technical. We've all seen they're good at their intricate passing. But I think as long as we can keep the ball in their half, they can't do us any damage. And if we get right into them, and I think if we get an early goal, it could be a night to remember, and I sincerely hope it is a night to remember.
I think it's probably more us keeping shape off the ball, Port, and obviously not wanting to lose it sort of middle of the park, because they've got quick players, you know. So I think it's be us going forward. I don't think we'll go too gung ho, Port. That's my honest opinion. But do you think we'll go right at the start? We'll go toe to toe, or do you think we'll maybe just try and be patient and work our way into the game?
You know, there's 2 points to that, mate. We can either go out there and, you know, really go for it and really press them back, because we've seen how highly they pressed us. Southside, they pressed us and didn't let us take our fullbacks into the game. You know, Tav was sort of, and Bonner was more reserved, as in, you know, they couldn't get forward to influence Angelino and the boy Mikelele that was playing down the right hand side, were more or less forcing their fullbacks back, and it wasn't really to the second half. Tav and Bonner managed to get slightly more forward. I think that's again, mate, where the big you know target's going to be. I think it's whoever can come out on top with the fullbacks, because that's where our fullbacks get their width from. That's where our team gets their width from. Sorry, and that's where their team gets their width from. And Kunku is just absolutely outstanding player. I think we need to really. I'm not saying man mark him Southside, because if you man mark him, they'll find holes elsewhere. I think Bassey done a clever thing in the second half against them, where he did a similar thing he done to Rogic. He stepped out and met him so that he couldn't turn on the ball. So Bassey stepped out the back three. So Bassey or Lundstrom can do that job, mate. So I think I would like to see us keeping it tight the first 20 minutes, mate, just to control the game and, you know, not lose anything. And then just let's, you know, build into the game, and then by the second half, I think that's when we have to really have a go, mate. But I think the big thing for me that hinges on it is, can we get Roof to play some part of the game, whether it be from the start or whether it be some part of the game in the second half.
I've thought about that myself, Port. I've seen a wee report saying he's winning his fitness battle, Stevie. But I don't know. I've not really given it a lot of thought yet about the sort of shape of the squad, Stevie. But would you like him to start if he was more or less, if they're saying he's fit, or would you think maybe keep him as coming on as a substitute?
Me personally, after a while I seen Sakala playing in Sunday there, I would honestly start with Sakala. I think the boys, he's up there. His confidence is up. He go to goal. I mean, come on, man. Let's be honest. He get that Celtic defence problems when he played through the middle. So I would honestly give the boy a chance. I really would, and I'd save Roof to come on. He's been out for a couple. What was it? He's been out for 2 games. So why no wait and bring him on? If it's not working, bring him on. But Sakala's on a high now, guys. I just thought he tormented their defence. I know the Jerry defence is going to maybe be a wee bit more rock solid, but let's give the guy a chance. I mean, he's on a high. His confidence is sky high, guys. You've got to give the boy a chance. That's exactly what I would do, honestly.
Well, I can agree. He's scoring goals and he's a threat. My theory is in this, and I've said it. I think I said it on here the last time I was on, and I said it to you, Stevie, when I've spoke to you, and I think I said to you, Jaffa, and I'll come to you, Jaffa. I think Sakala plays better when he's on the left-hand side, attacking, than he does on the right-hand side.
Coming inside.
Yep.
Or going outside because of his pace. I know, I agree with you, Southside. I think he seems to get on the ball quicker than he does through the middle. Don't get me wrong, I thought he was brilliant on Sunday. Lads, I really did. For me, Sakala changed the game on Sunday. Just his presence up front and the way he was turning them. And I mean, barring a couple of, a post and a brilliant save for their goalie, we walked out of their stadium on Sunday as 3-1 winners. And we should have won 3-1, and we were, the more dangerous, and it was mainly down to Sakala. I'm not sure how he'll play it. I don't know what Ruth's situation is. All I can say, Sakala, for me, probably looks the more likely because I think he's been fitter and he's been playing. And like Stevie said there, I would potentially bring Roof on in the second half. But who knows? Only that's the only bit of our team that at this moment in time is still up for debate. The rest of it, I think we all agree, picks itself, doesn't it?
Jaffa, the thing for me is, how fit is Roof? There's only one man knows. There's only one man knows. He's watched them at training. How fit is he? You know, if we knew he was 100% fit, maybe then maybe put him on for the start. Maybe do the other, but we don't know how fit he is. Only the manager will know, and I'll go with whatever Gio goes with. So, but the boy's flying. Sakala's flying, man. No, well, it'd be a shame for the boy not to be sitting on the bench at the start of the game, wouldn't it, after everything he's put in there the weekend?
Probably, but it's the biggest game, Stevie. It's the game takes preference, doesn't it? And he does probably deserve a chance to be on the park, Port. Would you think, it might sound a bit rational, but what if he started and say Roof was fit, right, and he was playing him through the middle? I still think Sakala's more effective on the left. Do you think there was a chance that you could swap the two of them and see how Kent started on the right, Port?
Well, that's the only way. If Roof doesn't make it, mate, the forward line that I picked was Aribo again, and that false number 9. And I touched on this, and I keep saying this: Ryan Kent's right-footed. Why is Ryan Kent never been given a chance on the right? So would it be worth a switch, playing Sakala on the left, where it seems to be more dangerous, and putting Kent on the right? Would that be a thought for any of you guys?
Jaffa, the reason I said he'd been, because he's proved he's been more effective on the left, because he's cut inside and scored goals, even the one up there on Sunday. He was on the left-hand side. I know he flicked it to Kent and Kent knocked the ball in, but he scored for the left, and in a way he scored that wonder goal on the left. Motherwell scored goals on the left. There's another game, I just can't think of the game now, but that's all I was thinking about. And if he's cutting in and getting shots off, because let's face it, Kent's no cutting in and scoring for the left-hand side, Jaffa?
No, he's no. No, he's not. Kent's no. I mean, his goal ratio this season's been really poor to be in Ryan Kent's standards. To be honest with you, his overall play, I would say, in the last number of weeks has been very good, but his goal ratio has been not been that great. I don't know, Southside. I don't know if there's more of a balance here between Kent and Barisic, and I'm wondering if Gio there's more technical pits to that. As opposed to just moving them to the other side. I dare say if they try it in training, it's been a while since I've seen Ryan Kent on the right-hand side. It's difficult for me to say it would work or it wouldn't, but certainly I don't see any reason why we couldn't try it. And I mean, listen, whether he starts Roof or whether he starts Sakala on Thursday, what I will say is both of them will play a part on Thursday. One will either start and one will come on, or vice versa, I suspect, because we've seen how important the 15 or 16 players that he's been using have come in, really came to the fore in the last number of weeks, where they've come on and they've really had an impact on the game. I mean, the subs last Thursday night had a big impact on the game.
Aye, mate, aye. Well, I think if it's all right with you guys, I think what we could do is we could get the phone lines opened and we'll see, get some fans in, right?
Sounds good to me.
And we'll see what they've got to say.
Yeah, super.
Get the bells up.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Port, like we're saying on Thursday night, and you're saying yourself, you think you'd play Aribo in the false 9. I thought on Sunday Aribo looked again, either I'm going to say tired. I thought sometimes I could have said he looked a bit lazy, as if he was. There was times when he looked as if he was switching off at times. But do you see? Is that how you would definitely go with? You go with Aribo through there, and just as if Roof isn't fit, that would be your definite selection.
Only if Roof's not fit, mate, because I do think he's the only guy that can play. He's back to goal. Do I think he plays it well? Probably not. But I think what he does is give you 100%, mate. And he has got that danger effect. Where he can, if we know what Joe Rebo turns up, the Joe Rebo before he went to AFCON, mate. I think if he turns up, we know what player we get. But I know what you're saying. He has been very limited playing in that role so far. We know it's not his next position, and we have to take our hat off to him for the fact that he's still giving it a go. But if Ruth doesn't make it, mate, who else do we play there? That's a big question.
Aye, it is. It's most probably, Stevie, the theory would be then it's Sakala.
Yep, that's that, aye. Again, I just keep going back to the only person that knows how fit Ruth is will be one manager. We watch them in training, they talk, he'll know. He'll know what's the best thing to do, And if he's not as fit as, hopefully he is fit, but obviously if he's not as fit, then it might be a Rebo playing that false nine. But again, Southside, I think you're being nice to Joe Rebo because you're saying he looked tired. No, I'm more in the lazy camp at times with Joe Rebo now. This is a guy that was playing absolutely out his skin. He was my player of the season up into the African nations, and he came back for there and he just looked a different player. Drained. He just looked drained, slow, lethargic, pedestrian, and we've not got any real skill out of him since he came back either. So I don't know what's wrong with the boy. He's a really good, talented young player. But I just think you're being nice a wee bit when it comes to Joe Rebo. And maybe that's the right thing to say, because I think he will come good again. But the false nine, I would honestly, after seeing Sakala playing through the middle there against them, I thought his pace, and his pace never dies. He keeps going and keeps going. And that's what I like about him. And if we're doing the high press game against the Jerrys, I think we'll get change out of him if he's up there playing with Kent. And by the way, there's another wee spanner in the works. I mean, Scott Wright on one side, Kent on the other, and Sakala playing in the middle. Think of that pace, mate.
Aye, I think probably people thinking back to Scott Wright, back to last Thursday, he wasn't effective in the position, and so obviously then people, he gets slated, I still think if you play your right position, obviously we're asking players. Sakala's the same, mate. He can't really play with his back to goal, but he's got pace in there. But if you hold on a minute, Steve, I think we've just been joined by Peter, pal. All right, Peter, how you doing?
Evening, guys. How you all doing? I know it's a bit of a hard question to ask, but everything's going on today.
Aye, Peter. What's your thoughts, pal?
Obviously, I just wanted to send my condolences to, obviously, Jimmy Bell's family. True legend of the club, and just shows you how much he touched all the club, a kit man, that not a player as people said, not a player or a manager, but it just shows you the massive respect for people to call him a legend, It just shows how high regard he was, not the tributes, but the players, the ex-players, just shows you, ex-managers, just shows you how highly he was and how much a fabric he was at the club.
Aye, Peter, 100%. I think we've seen that for the tributes paid today. Stevie, like you touched on it earlier, the amount of players and ex-players and managers that have come out straight away, and said bits and bobs.
If there's such a thing as a director's box in heaven, you'll have Bulstruth on one side, wee Jimmy in the middle, and you'll have Walt on the other side. That's how high. I'll tell you, that's how high I had the guy. There you go. They're Rangers men. They three guys are Rangers men, and wee Jimmy's no different. Kitman. That's he was more than a kit man. Let's be honest, that's just a title he had. Jimmy was a major part of our success early years as well, and he was there in the bad times, mate. And how many times did you lift a paper and never hear Jimmy said anything bad or done anything bad? He was just a nice, hard-working class family man. And if there's the director's box up there in heaven, that's exactly who he'll be sitting with. Hey guys there.
Aye, 100%, Stevie. Peter, what's your thoughts for Thursday, pal?
It's basically the same as yourself. I've still got the feeling we'll go through. Look, Leipzig are a good side. Can't underestimate them. people have got to remember, we're a good side as well. We've shown we can go toe to toe with them as well, with teams. Look at Dortmund. But the bit I'd like to touch on, yeah, these German teams are used to good atmospheres. But the Dortmund players and the Dortmund fans came over, and we all know how good Dortmund's atmosphere is. Even they came over and said Ibrox is one of the ones they've never experienced before, and it was unbelievable. So it just shows you how much a fortress Ibrox can be. But going on Thursday, I really fancy our chances here. When we had the ball on Thursday, the chances we created in the second half, and we had a wee bit of a go at them. I know it wasn't long enough, but we've shown we can get at them, and we can create good chances, but we need to take them on Thursday. But going on to Roof, it's a hard one. Sakala, yeah, he's flying in, and yeah, he does miss chances, but just like McCoy's, how many good chances he made, but you've got to keep going, got to keep getting in the same positions, and one of them will fall to you. And that we just need to be ruthless on Thursday when we get the chance.
I think, Peter, some ways we're a wee bit worried. I mean, we understand they're a good team, right? They've got good technical players. They were quick on the Thursday. Last week, I think we went to do a job to try and nullify them as much as we could, and hopefully we would create something. And I was, as you kept looking at the clock last Thursday, I was just hoping that we were getting out there with a nothing each at that point. And I thought, great chance at Ibrox with the crowd right on top of them. Jaffa. But the only thing is we're just missing, when we're missing Alfie, we're missing a Hadji, and possibly a Roof. And that, to me, it's the only reason why, if we can get by them, and obviously Hollander, but if we could get by them with this squad that's basically, I'll say, maybe running on empty to a point, Jaffa, it's going to be some massive achievement by these players.
Oh, it will be Southside, and I would agree with you, pal. I think the squad is. It's definitely down to the bones. But they've shown, and they've done it again on Sunday. They're not devoid of energy. I mean, we were well on top. They were chasing shadows by the end of the game on Sunday. So, and we done the same a fortnight before. I've got no qualms that the players will be up for this, and it's, you know, the team selection. Whatever he goes with, whether he goes with Sakala up front or whether Roofs proves himself. And let's not be kidding, just on that note about Roof's coming out today saying that he's making headway in his fitness. Basically, I took out of that is that's Kmart Roof basically telling the manager he's going to be fit on Thursday. That's a player getting into the dressing room before the game and saying, just to let you know, I'm all right and I'm fit for the game. And he's putting his name down, and that's what we want, because you want the manager to have choices. And have a variety of who he can, whatever way he's going to go. But it will be some results outside if we pull this off on Thursday night. And I think the players, it's down to the attitude of the players and their application, how they start the game. I think is critical. Getting at this team, they are a good team, but we haven't put them under enough pressure. And again, like Stevie, I watched the game last night with Gladbach. They certainly got at them, and I have to say, Gladbach are a decent team as well. But I think we've got a great chance on Thursday, as good a chance as we'll ever have of getting to a Europa League final, and I think it's in our hands.
I think the fact that we've got the 90 minutes, possibly the 120, and even penalties, and we're actually at a Range Stadium, you know, it's a massive factor. Hopefully, if we need to put us through that and be winning penalties, fine, but it's a massive advantage in a way when you're at home that you've got this chance to get one goal, at least, till you're still in the tie, as long as you keep that clean sheet.
I mean, the worst case scenario is, you know, penalties. So you get to 120 minutes and we're in penalties. That's the worst case scenario we get. And, you know, I fancy in penalties, but especially on McGregor's form. But I think this game, I've got a funny feeling Southside it's going to be a 120-minute game. I really do. I think this will be a hard-fought, tight game, very technical. And, you know, I've been touching on, really the last few shows, I've been touching on Gio's adaptability and versatility and reactive substitutions and reactive, you know, team changes and tweaks. And when things aren't going well, mate, which we've seen in several games since he's come in, he's a reactive manager, mate. And we've seen under Gerrard, and I'm not taking none away from Steven Gerrard's outside that. I really enjoyed his time at the club. But I've got a great belief where he's fair on his own sword by that, constant playing that 4-3-3, never deviating from it. When things weren't going right and teams started to work us out in Europe and in domestic form, he didn't have a plan B, mate. Whereas Gio, in my opinion, seems to have a plan A, B and C. Because when it's not working, he sees something, so he'll maybe tactically change it in the formation. And if further help, you've seen him tweak, which he did with Sakala at the weekend, where he sort of pushed him out onto that left-hand side against that Moffat Chamber of Secrets, and then, Wright came on and had a very, very, impact with his pace, and we created more chances. So I think Gio's got it, mate. As a manager, I really do think Gio's got it tactically in Europe. I think he's better, but we've got a very good up-and-coming young manager, mate.
I think I've noticed that, like you say, Port, he's not afraid to change it, and he's adapted the system. And sometimes he waits to see, maybe in Europe, I've noticed he's waited to see what the opposition when they've been making subs, and then he's had a look, and then he's decided to make his own changes. Peter, do you think, Peter, I'll come to you, do you think if Aaron Ramsey's, say, fit for Thursday, do you see him featuring in the team?
It's the same as Roof, isn't it? But then you could say, to be honest, Ramsey's, he's been there and done it in Europe, hasn't he? He's went on and won it with Arsenal. Yeah, that's gone back a wee bit. But his European experience could be valuable to our team. He could help. He could maybe be the missing one. I mean, imagine that. There's a lift coming off the bench on Thursday to help the boys through this big game. He might be the missing one on Thursday. If you need that one player, yeah, he might not be fully fit, but just the reaction the fans would be up, the players would get a kick. Or somebody like that experience come off the bench as well, could maybe push them on that wee bit with his experience.
Mm-hmm. Stevie, I was thinking more of like the Roof camp. Probably a good player they bring on if he's fit enough, and Gio has seen him train and he's proved that. So I think if there's a chance, he's more going to come on for the bench.
Aye, but she just is. What's your caller again? What's his name?
Peter.
What's your caller? Peter. As Peter was saying there, by the way, I would start. See if Ramsey, if they're in the squad, there must be a good level of fitness if they're in the squad. So, if I would start with Ramsey and keep Aribo on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I really would. And honestly, I'd play Sakala before Roof, and I would bring Day 2 on to Roof and Aribo, and that's the way I would probably go. I would probably go with that, but it's all half buts and maybes, guys. The way I'm looking at it is, see if Roof and Ramsey are in the squad, they're fit. It doesn't matter how fit they are, they must be fit. They're in the squad, so I would just honestly say the way Aribo's playing the now, I would put Ramsey on for nothing but Merlin. The experience Ramsey's got, and if he goes out and gives it his all in the first half, then what a substitute Aribo is to bring on for a half. And he'll probably look more fitter when he comes on, because players have already done 45 under their belt. Maybe that's probably how I would maybe go. But look, again, we're not the manager, we're not seeing training, what they do every day and how fit they really are and all the rest of it. But we should be starting, the Rangers should be starting the way the Rangers support's going to be starting. Electric and fire. It should be like Rydale High in Greece. We're going to rip them.
I think we've got an experienced squad now, Jaffa, for playing in Europe. I don't know whether I start Ramsey, Stevie. I'll come back to you. You can give me a team later if you want. But I don't know if I start Ramsey. I don't know if I start him. I know we brought him in for these types of games as well as get up to fitness and play in the league. But do you think we've got players that are fitter that can probably still do the job? And we're looking for him to come on later if we're needing an extra goal, or to come on if we're winning and settle it down? How do you see it?
Well, obviously, you're in that role, in that centre part of the front three, which is where Ramsey would play or Aribo would play, and play the false nine, essentially. Ramsey's been out for what now, 3 weeks since he got that. I don't know whether it was a hammy he got or a tweak in his hamstring. That's a difficult injury. So again, without knowing the fitness levels, I would probably at this moment in time, as I'm speculating on Rangers Radio, I would probably go more to lean towards Aribo. And just on that note, and I know what you're saying. I can't disagree with your points of view about Aribo on Sunday. I've got a theory with those games, those Celtic games. I think Aribo, because he is a bit more of a slower player, I think the Old Firm games bypass Aribo a wee bit. I think he gets lost in it because the ball's bouncing about ping pong. And I don't think that suits Joe Aribo's game at all. He wants the ball in the carpet. That's where he does all his damage. That's when he can get the ball down and he can start nutmegging and getting in between players. And while the ball's in the air in the Old Firm games, I think Aribo, and I don't think running's a strong part of his game. I know he's an athlete. I know he's part of your setup. He should be, but it's not his strong part of his game. Opening up defences is and scoring goals is what Joe Aribo's all about, and that's what he does best. I'm sure we would all agree on that.
I think he was obviously flying at the start of the season. The only thing I'll say, and I'm not saying this is true in any way, shape or form, but we've had a lot of players that have had COVID, and you know as yourself, sometimes you can suffer for long COVID, and maybe there's a situation where he's not fully back yet. I'm only flinging that out there. It might just be his lost form. It could be, like Stevie said, he looks maybe a bit disinterested at times. Could be that he's tired. He's played nearly 60 games this season. You know, so there's a lot of sort of theories, but just saying that it might not just be down to that. There could be other things that we're not privy to in the background for all our players, you know.
Of course, mate.
But I think I was thinking, Peter, I'd asked the question earlier, and then I'll come to import. Would you come out guns blazing, hopefully the first 15-20 minutes, and try and see if you can blow them away, or do you start cautious and just try and keep the pressure on them and look to just create openings?
I would, because the manager came out last week, remember, after the game, says Rangers won't come at us right from the first whistle. So I would go and take them and see if we can take them by surprise by going for the first whistle, because then it's as if their manager's come out and saying as if he's not expecting Rangers to go at them right from the off. And that's how we maybe done it against Braga. And Braga were kind of taken aback by it as well, because not many teams expect a home team to go at them right from the off. I'm not saying you can't do it for 90 minutes. But then what Gio can do is, say the first 10 minutes, and if it's not working, then he can maybe reel them in a wee bit. But you can't let that sleep shot get time in the ball. We need to bring the blood and thunder, what we've been doing. And as you have been saying about Aribo, I think personally, it's Steve that said it, about Aribo, the Old Firm games bypass him. I'm a firmly believer in that as well. Look, Aribo's a great player. I just don't think he can play in Old Firm games, because everyone, apart from one of them, he's shown up to. But there could be a lot more to it than what meets the eye, but we'll never know that. But as you said, yeah, I would go at them for the first whistle, because I don't think they're expecting it.
Aye, Paul, I used to say, well, when Joe Aribo first came, Peter, and I'll come to Port on this, because I think you remember, Port, I used to say Joe Aribo, when he used to go out and play against them in some other games, even Aberdeen, he was quite easily knocked half the ball at times. But Port, I think he'd built himself up. He's a bit stronger now. I think he can drag you up the park, because he can hold the ball in tight and get turning. I just think he might be a bit jaded, to be honest.
I 100% agree with you, mate. I think when he first came in, he was this, young, big, gangly boy that didn't have a lot of upper body strength. And I can remember an interview Gerrard did when he did say to him that he has to bulk up, and he mentioned that a few players that joined Rangers at first. And I think as a footballer, Joe Aribo's up there, mate. I think his touch, his close control, he's definitely a ball carrier, mate. He can carry Rangers 30, 40 yards up the pitch to take pressure off. There's no doubt about that. Does he frustrate you at times? He does, mate, because some of the things he does, he tries, doesn't come off. But a lot of times, I think that Aribo, Southside, his brain's too quick sometimes, mate. I think for the players that he's surrounded by, I think Joe Aribo's maybe sometimes one or two moves ahead. If that makes sense. In the current squad that's around him. So I don't think and that's not criticism of any other team player, by the way. I just think Joe Aribo is that good. And when you think of the positions he's played for Rangers, he's played at fullback, he's played in the middle of the park, he's played either side. You know, I think Joe Aribo brings a lot to the club, mate, but he needs to get back to the form that we all expect him. Because if he gets to the form we expect, mate, Joe Aribo's capable of magical stuff.
Stevie, aye. I was going to say, I think it was like you just touched on, I was about to say there, Stevie, that I think because we've played them in a lot of different positions, Stevie, sometimes you're maybe not seeing them in that one position week in, week out. And I think that's why sometimes he gets judged differently at times.
Look, I don't want you all shouting at me here, right? The boy's a talent. We've seen it. We've seen what he's got in his locker, and it's frustrating because we've not seen it the second since he came back for the African nations. Now listen, what age is Joe Aribo? 19? 20?
No,
he's a professional player.
He's probably about 22 now, as you know.
22-year-old boy, he's a professional football player. See this, he looks a bit jaded and tired, and that honestly, guys, that doesn't go with me. I'll tell you what, I like Joe Aribo when he's angry. See when somebody boots Joe Aribo during the game and he's get that angry heat on, somebody's maybe stuck one on him and he gets angry and he gets the ball down and he starts running direct. That's when you see the best of Joe Aribo. But for a 22-year-old to be knackered all the time and for the second half of a season, there's something no right there. The boy's a talent. There's no two ways about it. I'm not running the boy down. I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with the boy. But I'm putting a different slant on it, guys. I'm not accepting that a 22-year-old boy, professional football player, trains every day in life near enough, and he's tired. I'm not having that. You know, I mean, he should be. Listen, he's playing for Glasgow Rangers. 1 in 4 games isn't good enough for Glasgow Rangers, guys. There's no room for sentiment. And I'm not wanting to bring all this up before a big game, but let's be honest, we've got to be honest with ourselves. Joe Aribo's a fantastic talent. We've seen what he can do. The first 10, 12 games of the season, went to the African nations and he's come back and he looks lost. I know he's saying in Old Firm games that it bypasses him. See, we can't have passengers in my team, guys. We really can't. And I know Joe Aribo's not a passenger. That's a frustrating thing. See, when he gets the angry heat on and he's aggressive and he runs direct and he beats a couple of players, that's what we want to see with Joe Aribo. But we've not been seeing it.
I'm disappointed there because I thought he's a wee fish in there. But obviously, when I said 22, you just didn't know he was actually 25. Aye, but I should have jumped in, Jaffa. I said it straight away. But no, he has developed, Stevie. He's 25 now, right? We've developed him. He's had to come and learn to play at Rangers week in, week out. The demands are that you've got to win, you know, and that's what every player that comes to your club have got to get used to and they get told it. But you've got to, if you're buying a player at that level, what we did with Joe Aribo, you're buying talent that you were hopefully to progress. And Jaffa, he's certainly progressed as a player while he's been at Glasgow Rangers. You know, you've seen the development of Joe Aribo. And the only thing is now that he's down to the last year of his contract, my personal opinion, I think he'll probably go because he's at that age, and I think he might be wanting to go back to England. But I don't know what you think, Jaffa.
Similar Southside. I think maybe me and you have spoke about that as well privately. I love Joe Aribo, and I agree with all the guys. I don't think anything bad of Joe Aribo. I think he's a wonderful talent. He's inconsistent, and I would like to see because I know he's a better player than that. I'm just seeing it through my eyes. I hope Joe Aribo turns up on Thursday night and bangs one in the pocket in the first 5 minutes, and shuts us all up, and he goes on to score a hat trick. I love Joe Aribo, and I think we all do. And I think we're just debating, different players in different positions at different times. The AFCON thing certainly seems to have had an impact on him. He went away, he was really in form, and he came back. He kind of went off form. He got form again a couple of weeks back, and then he seems to have drifted back out of the team again. And not out the team, out the picture, just his standard, the levels. Listen, that I guess a lot of people say, well, that's professional football. That's what happens. You've got to stick with it and stick to the plan and just keep playing your game. But we know Joe Aribo's better than that. And like you, Southside, sadly, for a few of our players, I think they will move on, because Joe Aribo joined us as a young lad, and he's turned into an absolutely wonderful professional footballer. And there'll be plenty of takers for Joe Aribo. Plenty of London clubs will take Joe Aribo in a heartbeat, and he'll walk into their team. And will he get better as a footballer? I wouldn't say he'll necessarily get better. He'll earn more money, probably, if he moves to London. But Joe Aribo's career, I'm sure we'll all watch wherever he plays. And I happen to think it probably will leave us in the summertime, because he is at that stage in his contract, and we need to get the money for him. And that's just the laws of the economics of the situation.
Aye. That is the model. It's the model that the club spoke about, and obviously the club is what behind me, is what comes first. But we've enjoyed seeing him, Peter, and I suppose on Thursday night we're looking for one of the Braga moments that he done, and that would be something special, because we know he's got it in his locker. If you just say briefly, because we're about to go to the tune, pal.
Aye, no, definitely. It's a great player, fantastic player. And this is the night you want, like, your players like Aribo and that to turn up and make a statement. If he moves on, he goes, well, a blessing. You know what I mean? Him, Morelos, Kent, they've all contributed. So if they all want to move on, they'll go with our blessings, because let's be honest, they've all contributed something massively to the club.
Aye, Peter. Aye, I think the cross-border fee only cost us £250,000. When we got him. Right, guys, if you all get yourselves on mute, we're going to have a tune.
Lean and marching on through the years of history. It's head on high. How far the jersey they would do or die. Oh, fight for right. Play the game with a badge of glory. We'll lose or draw. Well, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. Sail and march on, banners high as they fly before you, loyal and true. On the way to cheer the boys in blue, oh, follow they will, marching on through the song of glory. We'll lose or draw, well, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. Have you seen the boys in blue? Well, they're admired by all who know them. If you knew them, so would you. For they have played with Monaco, they have played in the USA. But the greatest game in history is the game on New Year's Day, for it's the home of famous heroes praises they have been sung. Willie Waddle, Tory Gaelic, Alan Martin and George Young. And when all my life has ended, and when death has made its mark, will you scatter all my ashes on the slope of Ibrox Park? And what the angels I'll be singing up in heaven, there up above. I'll be singing, follow, follow, to the Rangers that I love. And with my flute I will be playing in the valleys and the glens. I'll be happy and contented when the Rangers win again. See them march marching on through the years of history. It's head on high, up for the jersey they would do or die. Fight, fight for right, play the game with a badge of glory. We'll lose or draw, well, that's a Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, banners high as they fly before you, loyal and true. On the wind to cheer the boys in blue, oh, follow they will, marching on to the songs of glory. We'll lose or draw, well, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. We'll lose or draw, well, that's the Glasgow Rangers story.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
What a tune that is. Reminds me of the old European trips away, and that wee tune would come on and the old tapes at the time. Now we're up market and we've got CDs. Now the jump now and again, Steve here. Look at the old days. Aye, Peter. I'll come at you, Peter. John Lundstrom. Must think he's in dreamland since he's came to Glasgow Rangers and he's now about to play in the second leg of a semi-final of Europe.
Oh, must be. I just want to say what a signing he's turned out to be. And I was one of the ones, like another couple, seen me sign John Lundstrom. I was excited when we signed him because I'd seen him in the Premiership and I thought, you know what, that's the type of play you want. Don't get me wrong, yeah, he was a box-to-box player in the Premiership, but I tell you what, since Giles came in, I think Bassey and Lundstrom are both, they're turning into phenomenal players for us. They were good. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Gerrard, but I just think under Giles just, it's like he's unleashed them. They're just two fantastic players, but John Lundstrom is really, it's nice to see a guy like that come in and get the club straight away. It's great to see, and he's turned into a very big player for us.
I think he's got everything that you wanted in a midfield player, Jaffa, in stature and stuff. I just don't think, in my opinion, I didn't think I would see him playing as deep a role as what he plays for us at the moment. I don't know what you think, Jaffa.
Well, he's played a couple of different positions, hasn't he? Since he's come in, he's played that central role, and I think we all felt at the time that maybe he was getting caught out. Remember, he got sent off a few times, and he got sent off in the Malmo game. Seemed to his head go down, then he went on that 4-game run where he got man of the match 4 games in a row. It's as if he's found the position, and he's also, I don't know how, what goes on in these guys' private lives like the rest of us. What they've got things going on. It takes some time to settle, I suspect. it looks like he's settled down. I'll tell you one thing though. See that look on Sunday when he walked out of their midden, when he was saying to them, "Come ahead." That will do for me. Any Rangers player that does that, he's in. He's one of us.
Right,
If he was doing what we would all day, walking out there.
Said that many a time. Come off that bus, get your chest puffed out, and just give them a look and give them a. That's what I'd be doing. But I think we've been joined by Blue Horizon. You in, pal?
Hello, guys. Yeah, how you doing? I'm just listening to you talking about young Joe there. Young Joe's like 25 now.
Aye, we did say. I performed 22, mate, but nobody took the bite and actually said 25.
Yeah, I knew what you meant anyway about playing games.
What's your thoughts, pal?
What I was thinking about that was Joe's played more games than any in the planet this season. Do you know that? He's played 63 games. No one else in the world has done that yet. This season, I mean.
Aye, obviously he's could be. Do you think he's maybe a wee bit jaded, Blue Horizon?
I think he is. Aye, in all honesty, I think he is. I'm thinking about when I'm going back to like McCoist and obviously before that, Pauline, DJ and that. They were playing against half decent teams and sometimes better teams in the league, and they weren't playing against these packed defences. Sometimes you'd get a team that weren't as good and then maybe no attack you as much as the half decent teams. But no one has ever in Scottish football defended against the likes of Rangers like they have these past couple of seasons. Never. Just didn't do it. It's like sardines now. So if you're that guy Joe and you're playing all these games, it's got to get to you after a bit. You've gone out and you're trying to do the same thing week in, week out. Well, I'm saying week in, week out, you know what I mean, every other week, because you're playing at idols the rest of the time and the fans can lift you, but it's still packed defences, no? It's a horrible game you've got. No wonder we don't get proper sponsorship.
I think Blue Horizon, they'll come to Stevie. I think the fact that football's quicker now, Stevie, you may need to be an athlete, probably first and foremost, and then if you've got a bit of talent, you could actually be a football player at times. I think it's just moved that quick now. You really need to be fast, whereas back in the day, and even the pitches are probably similar to now, because we've seen some terrible pitches this season, but I think it's just the game's faster now, Stevie. What? Would you agree with that?
Certainly, I think the game's moved on tremendously, mate. I think, we had this discussion on this show before. Could some of the modern day players play in this sort of style of football? We know the style of the Premiership. We know how fast the game is up here. We know how physical it is, and we know how long the longevity of players now. You've got players playing it well into their 35, 36, 37, 39, 40. So could these guys have stood up to the modern day football? Now, you can flip that, and could the modern day footballer play back in them days with the tackles, etc., mate? So that's a good question. A good question, mate. I like that.
Jaffa, I'll come back to you, Blue Horizon, in a minute. Jaffa, would you say that parts are pretty similar, like back then and they are now? I think some of the surfaces have got better, but I think it's just the game's got a lot quicker.
I think a combination of things. Southside, the ball, the technology that they've got, the players themselves, I think, are fitter and most definitely are more athletic in their build and their makeup and their diets and everything else. The pace that the game's played at, I mean, you see that when you go to our stadium and you watch the speed that these guys are moving the ball at. And I mean, it is absolutely 110 mile an hour. And by the way, we're not the fastest league in the world. When you go down to England, the game moves even quicker. It has to be said in some of the EPL games. So I think the game, I mean, Joe Aribo, to play 63 games, I think the caller said there, I'm astounded by that. I didn't think it was the size that. That's a phenomenal amount of football. I mean, that must be, 2 games a week for the last, 40 weeks, 30 weeks?
I think Golson and probably Tav would have been on par with him if they had played internationals, probably, but not been international players. I think that's why Joe Aribo's played. But he's a wonderful talent, Blue Horizon, and it's probably a game come Thursday that we probably need him, and we're hoping that probably, I mean, we're looking for creative players to be on the park, but I've said on earlier, Blue Horizon, I don't know if you agree, it's when we're not in possession of the ball, we need to get that shape. You know, that's what we're looking for, more the shape off the ball. That's what I think's important on Thursday night as well. Obviously scoring and winning the game, but out of possession, Blue Horizon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you're talking about the pace of the game as well, there's loads of things that have changed, isn't there? You're definitely right about the pitches. Pitches are a lot better. They're just to play muck and everything. The players are on, but other calls said I'm crap with names like Jaffa. Anyway.
That's all right, Jaffa and Port. Jaffa,
yeah. Right, I'm rotten with names, sorry. They're on strict diets. They don't go out and bevy and all that. We used to have that wee saying that a team that drinks together wins together and all that. No modern football, it doesn't. They're not into that. They're into longevity. Try to play as long as they can and getting all the money. Another thing that's changed is the weight of the ball. It's like a lighter ball. So if you're playing a better surface for a lighter ball and you've got guys that are looking after themselves, so it all adds up to one thing. That's a faster game. Whether it's skillful, I'm not so sure. We've got guys in Europe that play, and I'm not going to get the names because everybody's got favourites. There's the ones that are often talked about, and then they get ones that are playing in maybe a European game when a Liverpool or a Real Madrid or whatever's playing, and somebody beats 3 players. Never mind 2. Say they beat 3 players. Oh, he's world class, blah, blah, blah. I saw Joe Aribo beating 4 at Celtic Park, and there's hardly anything said. Unbelievable. The guy, Aribo, I am hoping he does. I hope he turns up, and I hope he's got that angry condition in his brain that you went and talked about. When he's angry, that's when you really do see him playing. You can see it in his face. The eyes give a lot away, don't they? But there's been mega games we've watched him playing in, and he looks totally exhausted. And I think it's a bit of a shame. It's the state of the pool we've got. We need better players in, and I think VGU will bring us them in the summer.
I think
on Thursday, yeah. And I'm not going to hang about because I know you've got other callers probably. I'd like to say it was a shame. That was sad news with young Jimmy Bell, and condolences to his family. That's sad news.
I hear you. But all right, pal, I'd like to thank you for your call. It's always put a good couple of points across. And hopefully come Thursday we'll get the right result. I'm just hoping Joe Aribo will have a good game on Thursday. But we need 11 players to play Blue Horizon. That's the thing. We need 11 players to play. I've always said that on here. We can't carry many passengers. Talk about passengers. I think we've got Big Stevie back for his pie break. Stevie, are you back?
See you later, guys. I'll try to get used to your names. Okay? Bye.
Right, bye, Blue Horizon.
See you, Blue Horizon.
Cheers,
what pies was that, Stevie? You done?
I'll tell you now, I was wanting to get tore into Blue Horizon there, but you've let him go, man. When he was talking about the game back in the day, and no, the guy's totally right, isn't he? You know, I mean, you need to be an athlete now, and I mean, Davy Cooper and guys like that, McCoys, they all went for pints and fish suppers and all that. You don't get the young boys doing that now, you know. It's a total different game, man. It's a total different game. I mean, look at the Scottish game. The day this low block, as you are talking about there, and the managers get praise. If they draw one each for Rangers or nothing each for Rangers at Ibrox, they give the opposing manager praise. The way he set his team up was fantastic. I'm afraid Scottish football's dead. If you're giving a manager praise for putting 10 men or 11 men behind the ball, come on, the game's changed. And it is frustrating for big players like Joe Aribo who want a wee bit of space to run at people and maybe beat a couple of people. Instead of that, he's got 3 guys on him constantly because they're 10 men or 11 men in a penalty area. But that's up to us. We need to break that down. But again, I get back to guys, he's a talented young guy. And we have made him a better player since he's come up for England. £250,000 cross-border, unbelievable money. And if he does go, we'll get a lot more money than that. That's for sure. And I hope the big man comes out and proves me wrong on Thursday night. I hope he comes out and rattles one of the curling, traps the shooter and does that lovely curling shot that he does. And just geese the angry Joe Aribo. Geese the angry man. And I'll tell you, we'll see a bit of football out of him.
I think because what we do in Europe, Stevie, we play in a league, like you say, that we've got to break down defences. They all sit compact and they don't want to attack us, Jaffa. So I think when we go into Europe, we are sometimes the team. I think Stevie G at first got used to that we had to go out and try and dominate the ball, and if we didn't, we had to keep our shape and then hit teams on the break. And I think Gio's been adaptable and he's had his on the front foot at times, but also I think he's aware. So I think it's the league that we play in, Jaffa. It's detrimental sometimes to what we can do in Europe.
I would agree with that, Southside. I think it is. I mean, if we were playing European teams like we've enjoyed for the last 3 years, the adventures and the kind of the amount of league, the amount of European games that we've actually played per season. If you compare that to our league fixtures, if we were playing teams of like that every week, can you imagine how guys like Joe Aribo would be flourishing, Glenn Kamara would be flourishing, John Lundstrom, we're talking about playing there in a low area of the team, where he would be pushed forward and more of his that short part of his game where he's got a bit of dig about him and he can score a goal from outside the box. All of that, and guys like Ryan Kent who wouldn't have 2 and 3 defenders on them every time they get the ball, which is why when guys like Kent, when they play in Germany, the German cameras, the production team, that they love everything. All they kept playing last week was the nutmegs that he was doing against Leipzig, because obviously that's what sells the game. But not in our country, I'm afraid. That they don't see it that way. As you say, you get praised for putting 11 men and three officials behind the ball for you. I mean, and that goes exactly what happened on Sunday. You know, it was the amount of refereeing decisions that were going against us was just unbelievable. I mean, we had linesmen standing in front of the balls to prevent James Tavernier from taking a corner. That's twice this season that linesman's done that. Francis Connor. You know, that's a whole other point.
Aye, I know what you're saying. I just think, Port, like I've said, it's a league, and we go to Europe, we dominate the ball in Scotland 90% of the time against most teams. And just when we go to Europe, sometimes we're under the caution. So it's our shape, it's going to become, we actually get tested more in Europe, you know, than we do in the Scottish League, is what I'm trying to say most of the time.
The thing what happens in Europe, mate, and I enjoy watching in Europe, and what I mean by that is teams come out and have a go, and I think that's tailor-made to Rangers, because you do see our more expansive football. Kent gets more space, Aribo gets more space, you know, Alfredo comes to the fore, you know, our even Glenn Kamara, Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom have all, you know, performed best in Europe, mate, because our negative football, and Big Stevie always touches on it, the league that's killing itself, you know, with this, when managers are screaming the back papers and praising the back papers of the media in Scotland, who are saying, you know, oh, superb, you got a draw against Rangers, you got a draw against Hibs, you know, great management tactics, you know, and we sort of, you think we would go and do that in Europe, but I've got to be real honest, mate, I think Rangers come to the fourth in Europe, because we get to play with expansive football. We're a European side, Southside. I don't know if the boys agree with me. I think we are a Europa Cup side who have now got to, you know, the last 32, last 16, quarter-final, semi-final. I think that's where we are at the moment, mate. And with investment from next year, then we go up the next step when we get to the Champions League, mate. But I think we're a very, very good European side. That'll tell you, mate, not a lot of clubs like playing us over 2 legs, and whoever gets us in the final will not enjoy playing against us, mate.
No, I think he's, like you said, we've built a squad, and Gio's took it a step further again this season. We've obviously added some players, Peter. So I think for that factor, we probably see the best of like a a Ryan Kent. We've obviously seen Lundstrom make space and look decent in Europe, and also Hadji when he was fit. I think we've seen in European nights day players, Aribo as well, sort of get that chance where they get a bit more space, Peter, eh?
No, aye, sorry, I was on mute.
Dana Bridgman.
Hadji's a very big miss. I think we're seeing it now. He's built for European football, but as you've touched on, that we've built a squad for European football, and that's where it suits us. But no, it's European football just suits our style of play. Sadly, that's what we're built for now. In the SPL, I think with Gio backing next year, if we both back him right, I'm excited to see the squad he can build with his own players.
I'm looking forward to that myself, obviously, because the players have got coming on Thursday night, Stevie, I just think that they know what Europe's all about. We're at home, we're against a good team, but we should hopefully have enough experience in the team and with the crowd and that and the know-how. And obviously you need a bit of luck, but we've got a fantastic chance to actually get over the line into this European final.
Listen, mate, there's no two ways about it. Southside, we're a European. We're not there making up numbers, by the way. We've proved in the last 3 years we're consistently a good European team. We played Benfica's, Porto's, Galatasaray's. You look at the quality of sides that we've come up against and played and beat. We're not there making up no numbers. Our boys are experienced in the field. They should know now they've been to grounds like Red Star Belgrade. I mean, you don't get any more hostile than that. They're well steeped in European games. You can't buy experience. You can't buy experience Southside, and our boys should get there very experienced tomorrow night. They know the crowd's going to be fired up. They know exactly what they've got to do. They've got one game. I mean, if you tell me, Southside, at the start of the season, we would have one game at Ibrox to get to a European Cup final, I'd have said, no, that's a bit too much. You're going a bit far. And lo and behold, and it's no fluke. It's absolutely no fluke. This squad of players are punched above their weight for the last 3 group stages of Europa League. The money, the gap between the other clubs and us is unbelievable. And let's be honest, all the other clubs' FAs help them. You know, what does your FA do for us? You know, and we've got all that, it runs against us and all. And let's be honest, we're playing teams here without recognised strikers. We've got Hadji missing. Would he have been in the team if he was fit? Would Hollander been in the team if he was fit? Alfie? Come on, man, we've got to give this pool of players a bit of credit. They've fought their way to where they are now, and they're going to do the business on Thursday. I've got every bit of confidence we can get a goal in the first half and a goal in the second half. The big thing for me is we need to keep the back door shut.
Aye, 100%. I think they've been good on the road, Stevie. They were in the Champions League. They took. I think that's Alex Kelly. That sounds like an Alex Kelly to me, Alex. Sorry, mate, I didn't realise you were in.
I'm falling asleep here listening.
Sorry, mate, I never noticed you were in there. Didn't see you come in the back door, you know. What I'll do is, Alex, I'll come to you then. We're talking about Leipzig there. They scored 3 goals at Manchester City. You know, I know City took 6 off them, right, but we're talking about gaps here and quality, you know, but they're a good team on their travels, Alex?
Aye. Before I start on that Southside, I just want to offer my condolences to Jimmy Bell's family and friends today. That was terrible news for the Glasgow Rangers family, and it'll hit home to a lot of people, particularly in that dressing room there. So thoughts and condolences to his family today. Terrible news. Leipzig are a good team. There's no shadow about that. They've spent plenty, though, to be a good team. They've been bankrolled with Red Bull. Their journey is completely different for yours in the last 10 years. We've done it with a proper support behind them to finance our team. We've no spent millions, hundreds of millions the way this team is. They're no well liked in Germany. That's why they were playing last night. And they're not getting any favours off of the German FA. They don't like that in Germany, the way they do that. Bankrolling a team, that's just not the German way with the German public. You went out there to Leipzig, much was your ticket, €16. They like to look after the support. I think if Europe could learn a lot off the German model with the clubs and the supporters' relationship with their associations. I think across Europe it's become a fair bit elitist thanks to the financial, the TV money. I said on the show last week, out of the 3 European competitions that's left, 10 of the teams is teams for the big 5 nations, and it's basically been bankrolled. So, listen, they're a good team, but no team's unbeatable. We can go at them. We can hopefully pick holes in them. But I was wanting to pick up something with my big pal Stevie. He's doing a bit of a Rebo bash tonight. And I know where he's coming from because we expect more out the big man. But see, if you look back at the timeline when his form started to dip, Gerrard left the club. Gerrard was a father figure for that boy, and you kind of. I remember an Andy Halliday story. We played Ufa in a Europa League qualifier a couple of years ago with 2 men sent off that night. The big man played midfield. I think he played up front and ended up at right back. And Andy Halliday said Gerrard taken him with the neck and he showed him to the full team. He says, I'll take this boy wherever I go in the game of football. So the 2 of them had a special relationship. I just think the big man's heart's no in our club. He's looking for a move, and who could blame him?
Well, maybe so. I don't know if you heard earlier, Alex. As I said earlier as well, a lot of players, I'm not saying it's 100% or anything like I've not heard it, but when you've suffered for COVID, and there's a lot of people who suffer long COVID slightly after it, and he's a football player and we hope that he's playing week in, week out, and there could be a factor in that. I'm not saying there is. It could be he's played a lot of games, 63 games for Rangers this season as well. And we're hoping he's got one. If you give us a wee minute, I think we've been joined by Big Al. So how you doing, big man?
I'm doing great. It's great to have. Look, first things first, I'd just like to send my condolences as well here for the colonies to Jimmy Bell's family. God bless you, buddy, and I hope the family are. I hope the family are staying safe and whatever else. I don't know. A bit tongue-tied in regards to it. He was an institution, wasn't he, for us? Mm-hmm. So it's a sad day. Anyway, back to the matter on hand. It's great to be on a panel with 2 living legends, a gangbanger, a man named after a fruit and a fruit now. I think the Malaga banana just slipped in front of me. I hear it.
So what you're saying is I'm contending with a lot tonight, Big Al. Is that what you're saying?
Aye, you're putting I'm sure you know what order that comes in. Look, I agree with Stevie, and just what Alex was saying there as well. Look, we can't make excuses for players. We need players to be 100%. I thought on Sunday, and I said this last night as well, I thought the performance for Rebo on Sunday was bordering on just laziness. We can say what we want, but we can't have passengers. We're a team that we cannot have any passenger. Pardon?
On yourself, Big Al. I'm for you.
Aye, look, I'm not a Rebo bashing. Well, probably I'm not a Rebo bashing. He's never been one of my favourite players, and I think what's he been with? 3 seasons. I think out of that, I think accumulatively, I think he's had about three good months, and sporadically over the 3 or 4 seasons. So I just don't think it is. Jaffa said earlier as well, these cutting passes and goals. Look, if he was doing cutting passes and scoring goals in every game, well, you don't mind them just potting about, but you're getting something from him. It's very rare. It's very rare. I'll leave it at that. In regards to Rebo.
Can I get a right? Aye.
Well, I had to. I had to say to Stevie Big Al that I think because we've been moving him about the park quite a bit as well.
I know.
Sometimes you might not get that. I know you're still looking. He's a player, Stevie. That he's one of your football players in the park. If we had an Aribo in the park, we said earlier, Big Al, I had you in the park.
Yeah.
You're looking at Ramsey. They're football players for us in the middle of the park. Stephen Davis, they're football players, no players that can create and open up teams. Stevie, I think we're debating whether is he running out of energy, is he tired, or has he lost a wee bit of interest?
First of all, I'm going to say this: I'm no bashing Aribo. I'm frustrated with Aribo because we know the player. We know the player that he can be, and I've said it, I don't know many times tonight. Give me the angry Joe Aribo, the one that goes direct, runs at players, he's got the angry heat on. Give me him all day long, and I'm a happy man. That's when you get the best out of Joe Aribo. Now, can I talk to the Totty from Lanzarote, my big pal Alec?
A Totty's not a fruit. That's a vegetable.
His cut on it is...
You're bashing Aribo.
Listen, your cut on it, Alec, is... Your cut on it is his wee pal Stevie Gerrard left, so he's all heartbroken and he's walking about. Listen, this is a young football professional picking up 30 and 40. I don't know what the boy's on, 25 grand a week or whatever he's on. Listen, we can't have that. He's sulking about because Stevie Gerrard's away. Definitely that's not the script for me. The script for me is he's just, it's maybe the way the Scottish game is, packing the penalty box, it makes it harder for him. And people are saying every time we play Celtic, the Borgies by him. When he shows aggression, he's got it. We just need to see that more out the boy. We need to see more guile out the boy. And we need to remember, guys, we all moan about certain other players not having a bit of guile. We were all up in arms about John Lindstrom not that long ago, or went rid of him when he got sent off against Malmo. That's it. He's an idiot. Get him out the team. And look what he's turned out to be. It's just frustration with us all. We all want the best out of our players. But I'll tell you the now, Joe Aribo is one good game in 4 or 5 is day good for me, guys. And I'm not dressed it up or dressed it down. He's a great, fantastic talent. He's got it, and I'm frustrated with him because I want to see it more. Look the way he started the season. He had his all up after 6. And then he comes back with the African nations and he's no kicked the ball. But the Totty for Lanzarote seems to think it's because his pals left the club. Definitely no for me. How can you? That's not a football player then.
I think, well, Alex, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know, we've all sort of expressed our own on here. Used to a batter him, but I think he might just be tired and played a lot of games, and it's getting to that season. He might be off a wee bit of form as well, and we're trying to pick him because he's a creative player that we know, Jaffa, and we're probably trying to feed him into a bit of form and hoping that on that night or that afternoon that he produces, Jaffa. And I think he'll play on Thursday night, if I'm honest.
I think he'll play on Thursday night, and I like the rest of us. Obviously, everybody's got their opinion on it. I respect their opinion. Nobody's bashing Joe Aribo. I don't hear that. I just hear we're all just wanting the best, and we know the Joe Aribo that turns up. He gets you off your seat. He's a brilliant player, but he just doesn't do it often enough for whatever reason that is, whether it's something else going on or whatever it may be. But I hope on Thursday night, I hope he's playing because a fit Joe Aribo or the angry Joe Aribo, as Stevie describes him, when Joe Aribo's on his game, there's no better player in our team. He's absolutely brilliant to watch, and I hope he's on his form on Thursday night, and I hope he slots a goal away for his lads.
Jaffa.
Yes.
On Thursday night's a very important game. Do we want to take such chances?
I don't know if we've got much more choice. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you've got Sakala that's got better legs. You've got Sakala that's got better legs. I think whoever came up with
I think Sakala will play, and I think Aribo will play. I think he'll play a 4-2-3-1 again. I think he'll play.
So they're going to play Aribo in the same position he played on Sunday. I
think you're right. I think he'll probably play. I think Scott Wright will play.
Aye, maybe. I mean, he's got legs. I can't. Anyway, just one.
I think
Look,
it'll
I'm
depend.
gonna go, boys. You have a nice night.
Right, Big Al, cheers.
But
Thanks for
thanks for
phoning
taking
in.
my call. Aye, take my call.
Done,
Thank
big
you.
pal.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, big man.
Take care.
Good to hear from you, Al.
Oh, there's a gangbanger.
Cheers, one man. You take care.
Right, bye. I'll come to you first, Port, and then Alex, and then Peter can hang me. We're talking about Alex's pal, John Lundstrom. Do you think, as you look at the way he started to play, right? You look at his physique and that, and obviously been in there with Ryan Jack. Now, if Ryan Jack, for instance, gets back out injured or something, do you think John Lundstrom could be the type of player that's maybe passable, maybe longer and better across the park than a Ryan Jack, but be that Ryan Jack type of player that we're looking for in the midfield?
Can I just touch on Joe Rebo first for answer that question, mate?
Okay.
Aye. Look, I've got massive praise for Joe Rebo. You know, when he first came to us, didn't know a lot about him, but when he burst onto the scene over the last couple of years, I thought this guy is a talented footballer that will, my opinion, will go and play at the top, and I still believe that, right? I think it's a simple problem, Southside. When's the last time Joe Rebo actually played in his natural position? You remember when Gio first came in, he had him in that number 10 role, and the guy was on fire. You know, creating, you know, getting into the box, getting goals, and then he went in the African Nations with his tail up, mate, because he was picked for form. Then he went to the African Nations Cup, and they played him in a more deeper number 8 role, which he never looked great in the African Nations. I just think, mate, we're not getting the best of him because he's not playing in the position that he plays in. That's just my opinion, by the way. On the point of John Lundstrom, mate, this guy, I think, is taking a wee bit to settle in. Alex Kelly was bang on. I remember Alex Kelly saying a while back, you know, about being in centre back. And
I wouldn't go that far, Port.
And I admit I laughed, right? But what he's turned into is an absolute versatile player, like Calvin Bassey, who can play left back and centre back. John Lundstrom, mate, in my opinion, has overtaken Ryan Jack as the first pick on our pitch. He's a cornerstone of our team. He drives the team. He organises. He thunders into tackles. But he's not just that, mate. This guy can play football as well. He can spread the ball wide, either wing. You know, again, protect his back 4 or back 3. Sits in that, you know, gap between Goldson and Balogun or Bassey, whoever it may be. This guy is turned into a Rangers player, mate. It reminds me, I see who it reminds me of, mate. Ian Ferguson. There you go. That's high praise. That's who John Lundstrom reminds me of. So if he keeps continuing in that vein, mate, we've got a seriously good player in our hands.
Alex, are you in a similar theory then? He's a bit like an Ian Ferguson?
I've actually said that to Andy for Leeds a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I wouldn't quite put him up there in the bracket that Fergie was because he obviously the honours that Fergie won, but he reminded me of that sort of stature that he brings to the team. You know, it's just his presence and his awareness and his ability to pass. I mean, we're on about Golson's long range passing. Lundstrom's spreading about the park with both feet is absolutely brilliant to watch. That he's actually been an asset in the team. Rare and the start of the season. I know you were saying about Aribo's possible long COVID. I heard that Lundstrom had long COVID as well. And Davis is long COVID, so that's been a factor. But listen,
I'm not saying it was 100%. I'm not saying I had any knowledge of that, Alex. But I'm saying that obviously with people having COVID, it's a possibility because there's loads of people who have had long COVID after it and then been athletes in football. Aye, and you know yourself, it can take a wee bit longer. But definitely, like you're saying,
yep. But listen, I just think we're in a team in transition a wee bit. I mean. Listen, we're all Rangers supporters. We've all been Rangers supporters when we were young. You know, most of the players that play in our team aren't the Rangers supporters. The Gerrard factor is a factor in bringing all these players to our club. I mean, we would love the fact that we'd be these guys were coming to our club to represent our club, to, give the fire and the shirt and everything. Most of the guys that's playing are all Gerrard's players. They came to our club because of him, not because they wanted to play for our club. So that is a factor, but now they've got to learn to live without them and just see where it takes them. We've got a massive opportunity on Thursday. By the way, it's no surprise that the levels of performance is up to the European game because they're putting themselves in the short window. That's a factor as well. But listen, let's just take it forward to Thursday and see where it takes us. But we've got a great opportunity here to reach a European final.
I think when you're saying about players, I mean, don't always think you need to be a Rangers man. I think you can grow to love the club. I think, obviously, at the end of the day, they all play for money, right? We know that, right? Yep. But I think Tav's got a love for the club. I think he knows what we stand for. He knows everything about our traditions in the club. I think our previous manager learned as well. I think he listened to other probably managers, and I think he put himself into it, if I'm honest. And Ryan Kent could be the same. I mean, Ryan Kent's probably a Steven Gerrard fan, but he's still at the club and he's still trying his best. And I still think Joe Aribo is in the same boat. I do believe they might go, but at the moment, and we're just looking come Thursday for a massive performance. I was going to come to Stevie on this. Oh, sorry, Peter. Peter, I'm going to come to you first, mate. Sorry. I'll change it slightly. See Calvin Bassey, right? I remember, like you, Alex, I said I didn't see him maybe filling in as a centre-back long term, but if he could learn to header the ball better, I think he could, in time, probably come into being a centre-back, but probably left-back is where I would like him to be and develop. But I think I've seen massive strides on him as well, and he's got 2 years left of a contract, so it's maybe something that we should be looking at to maybe see about tying somebody like him down going forward as well.
Oh, aye. Bassey's came on leaps and bounds, turned into a fantastic prospect for the club. He's just a young boy. When we first signed him, nobody had heard of him, but he's came on leaps and bounds. But going on your point with Lundstrom is a great player. He can switch the play. You mind, they done it on Sunday against them. The one he picked out Kent, I think it's for near the right back position. He's just switched it right to Kent's feet, and he's can be the driving force of the team. I really think if Ryan Jack was out injured, you could easily say Lundstrom could drive this team forward, and he can pick your passes out. He's proved, like Ryan Jack, he can shoot from outside the box as well. So it's great to see, and he's actually every week he's just getting better and better. He loves a tackle as well. When was the last time you could say, apart from Ryan Jack, we had a midfielder who put his head in where it hurts, and he can play football as well. And you've got Stephen Davis. I mean, they've got great players to learn though. And you've got young Lowry. What? I mean, he's got a great education to learn for these players. Like, Ramsey's not going to be here long term, but it's short term. What a player to learn off for his experience. Steve Davis, the Rolls Royce, again, fantastic on Sunday. That's just Steve Davis for you. But Bassey's, he's going to be a phenomenal player. I think he could be a player that could go on higher. I don't mean higher as in, obviously Rangers can't get higher, but a higher league, definitely could go in a higher league.
I think Stevie, what he's learning at Ibrox is demands on you and the play with the pressure that you don't get at certain clubs down in England, especially at their type of age, because at the end of the day, he was in the reserve football at Leicester. But even going to use Charlton or someone as an example, no, the demands aren't the same as what you get at Glasgow Rangers, and he's starting to, you can see the development in him now, how we're progressing him. It's starting to look fruitful for us.
He is the half Southside. Big Shirley for me has been absolutely fantastic. The big man, we play him at left back, we play him in a centre half role. The big man leaves absolutely everything on that park, and that's what you want to see for a Rangers player, leaving everything out there on the park. Listen, he'll learn things as he goes along. He's quickly learning the game. I mean, how many European campaigns has Big Shirley got under his belt now? So he's getting experience to bring him on quick style. And dear. I think the big man's got a Rangers bug. I don't think there'll be a problem when it comes to that big man signing a new contract or anything like that. When does his contract, when is it up?
He's got 2 years. He's got 2 years left.
2 years left, so they should really start talking to him any time at the end of the season,
You would like to think. I'd like to think so. Eh?
Aye, the man. Listen, the man's he's an animal, man. He just keeps going and keeps going. It doesn't matter what time in the game. I mean, look at the Scottish Cup game there. The overlap where he ran for the halfway line, took him. He got the ball played to him and he played it in and got as a goal. Unbelievable stuff. Big Shirley's been playing out his skin. John Lundstrom's been at the two guys we're talking about there. They would be between they two and Tav maybe would be my player in the year. No, between any of the three. If John Lundstrom keeps playing the way he's playing to the end of the season, he would probably be my player of the year.
He'd need to be your player of the year because it's already been done.
I know that.
But I get what you're saying, mate. He's certainly, we're developing him the right way. And the thing I noticed, Jaffa, if you think back to the game when Tav scored, he fought for the ball in front of the Govan stand against Dortmund and he won it, and then he got himself down the line and got the cross in. And it's the determination, you see all the heart and the desire. Still get wee honest. I don't think he's very good in the box for when the crosses are coming in, but it's something hopefully that we can develop.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Southside, he's such a young fella. I mean, he's still got heaps to learn in his game, and look where he already is. Calvin Bassey's a shining light in our team, and incidentally, I think he's a standout every time he plays. Big Stevie said there, I mean, he leaves everything on the park, and he's brilliant at that. And I think that's why most of the fans, all of us, love him. I mean, I know we love all the players, but Bassey is brilliant at that. And that night in particular, you're talking about the sheer endeavour. He got that ball down there and he whipped the ball into the box. And obviously, Hummels, he missed it. And the rest is history. Tav planted it in the bottom corner. Great goal. And that was just down to Calvin Bassey. And he's got that in his locker. He's got that in the cup, the semi-final of the cup, where the run was incredible. The energy levels that he showed. Calvin Bassey, 2 years left in his contract. Get him signed up. That's what I say. Get him in another 4-year contract. Give him the money. He's the future. I don't know what age Calvin Bassey is now. What is he? 21, 22? I would, he ticks all the boxes for us. I would get him signed up. The quicker, the better.
Aye. But we can see the development in him. I think he might be part of something. I think he'll be part of the squad next season going forward. I don't think it's somebody that. I think it's somebody maybe Gio's starting to trust now, eh?
100%. I think his development under Gio, mate, for me is exceptional. And that's one thing I've gave over the last couple of nights. High praise for our gaffer, mate. I think the players like John Lundstrom and Calvin Bassey, who's improved under him, has been exceptional. I think even Connor Goldson has improved under him. But Calvin Bassey, mate, I've got a wee feeling that some players will go next season. I think Borna Barisic will be one of them, and I think you'll have Calvin Bassey as your correct number 3, your left fullback, mate. But what he's got in his locker is the ability to step into that, centre back role, and that adds to his value, mate. Because I tell you, remember what we sold Nathan Patterson for? Who played a handful of games at right back for Rangers. So what's Calvin Bassey worth with his left back ability and the fact he plays centre back, and he can play them both as well as each other, mate. I would like to see him hone in and master his left back position, if I'm personally speaking. But it's great to have him there that he can step into the back line, because his pace gets the whole back line out of trouble. And he's becoming one of the finest left backs, mate, and young talents I've seen at Ibrox for a long, long time.
Stature and power, Alex, a bit like Lundstrom type of player that we might need to try and be looking at to get going forward. More physical type centre backs as well, aggressive. But obviously we're looking for a bit of footballing ability. But I think that's what we're looking for: a bit more stature, a bit more dig in the middle of the park and let somebody, if we have to replace Alfie, we're looking for somebody of his mould, physical-wise,
Yep. Aye, well, listen, it's no rocket science, boys, is it? I mean, Scottish football is based on physicality of the games, but when it comes to Europe, it's a step up in standard, and, you know, you've got to be that better technical ability to compete with the teams. You're obviously playing at a higher level. I think Bassey's actually groomed more into being a centre-back, the kind of physical presence that he has. It's just sometimes his awareness of what's happening round about him. He's a wee bit caught out, but his pace makes up for that. So the more he plays that role, I think the better he'll become, because when Borna does play, Borna's still got a better delivery than that Bassey's got. Bassey's only got with the high ball. Borna will whip it in at different kind of levels. So I think going forward, I think Bassey could be a centre half rather than a left back.
Aye, I can see it sort of forming, Alex, over time, Peter. But I think if Borna leaves in the summer, which maybe by all probabilities, I think Borna gets a club as well, by the way, Alex. I think you can see him sometimes after games and that when he's going up to the support. And I know it's an easy thing to do, to come up and show a bit of passion and that. But I think Borna gets the club and all, you know. I think when he does go, it'll be a sad time. I think he's done well for us as well, you know. So, but aye, we're obviously looking at Bassey being the future, you know, for us going forward
So
as well.
Can I quickly ask the guys, do you think Jimmy Bell's passing will have a major impact in the attitude of the guys in the dressing room?
I'll let them get in and answer, and I'll go to Stevie first, then Jaffa, then Port.
I don't like bringing this up, but look at the time we played Aberdeen. Walter Smith had just passed. We ended up drawing each. And I don't want to put that in a downside. I'd like to think they'd go on Thursday night and do everything they could to get the win for and dedicate it to Jimmy. 100%.
Jaffa?
Yeah, same. I think it'll galvanise the team, Alec. I think it'll bring everybody even closer together, and I think they'll go out and do it for Jimmy. That's my honest opinion.
Port.
I agree, mate. I think you use it. I think it was discussed before the game, and somebody, maybe the captain, will say, you know, maybe one of his final words as the discussions are going on. Let's go out and do it for Jimmy. Let's go out and make the man proud, and let's get him to a final. You know, and he'll be sorely missed. No doubt about that. Southside, he'll be sorely missed, because to me, he looked like a good confidant for some of the players, because as I said, some of the outpour I've seen today from ex-players that's played with him and current players, they think very highly of him, mate. So, you know, the battle cry, innit? Let's go and do it for him, man.
I think it will be, obviously, when the players go in the dressing room and stuff on Thursday, it'll hit them, obviously, as it has at the moment and that. But first and foremost, I think we've got to get the result for the club, and that's what he would have wanted more than anything. And then if we can put the icing on the cake by going through, then obviously Jimmy Bell will come into everybody's thoughts, you know. So it's like we say, it's a massive game on Thursday. I just hope that with everybody that attends the game, Ibrox has got a tendency to rock for 5-10 minutes and then sort of quietens down. So I'm hoping, Peter, on Thursday that we can dominate good bit portions of the game, keep on top of them, and the crowd hopefully will stay vocal as much as they can. Certainly the UB will, and I think they're trying to get everything together for a massive display on Thursday night. So it's something that we're all starting to buzz about and look forward to. So I'd like to say your last words, Peter, because we're just about to wrap up the show, pal.
Aye, no bother. No, I completely agree. I think the final words will be, let's go and do it for Jimmy, but I want to touch on Union Bears. What a great thing they are for the club as well. Not enough is said about them by everybody. I wouldn't put it surprising if we put a tifo up for some for Jimmy Bell. I'd just like to say how great they are, but I really think the players will galvanise, because Jimmy Bell has touched every player in that team, and every player will want to go out and do him proud on Thursday, and most of all do the club and the fans proud. But thanks for taking my call, and I'll listen to the show tomorrow night, and hope you all have a good night and good day tomorrow.
No worries, Peter. Same to yourself, buddy, and thanks very much for calling in as always, mate.
No bother.
Alex.
Oh, well said, guys. Thanks for taking my call, and let's go out there and do it for Jimmy. No surrender.
Aye, it's that's what we're looking for on Thursday. Port, looking forward to Thursday, pal.
Aye, I'm buzzing, mate. The battlefield is on. I think it's going to be one of the biggest exceptional weeks in my Rangers life. I think this, in my opinion, mate, it'll eclipse Manchester for me, just simply for the run and some of the teams we beat in here, and I can only see one positive result, and I'm going to go for 2-0 to the Rangers, mate.
Aye, I'll take that, mate. Definitely take that. Jaffa, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, aye, definitely, lads. Aye, do it for Jimmy Bell, and I'm like the rest of you, I'm looking for 90 or whatever it takes, 120 minutes of Proddy surround sound. I want that place rocking, bouncing, jumping, bouncy all night long. Come on, Rangers! I'm in right into it. I'm like Bridge here. I can't get to sleep.
Hi, Stevie. We're looking to get out of this hurdle, mate, and then hopefully we'll all be in Sevilla.
Oh, aye, definitely. And I'll be there on Thursday night, me and Jamba, and I'll have my Joe Aribo, can I please have your shirt? I'll be
You're better with bashes.
He's too quick. I'll be able to catch him.
Brilliant. Hey, well, guys.
Big game. Just let's get behind the team. The Union Bears, no doubt, will have some display on, by the way. And can I just give them a wee bit of promotion at the fact that anybody wants to donate it, they've got a site there you can go and donate stuff to help the card displays and the tifos and stuff. What a great young bunch of guys we've got there what they do for our club. But let's go, guys. Radio high. We're going to rip them. We're going to roll them. Come on.
Aye, they do a fantastic job, Stevie. So they do, and they make plenty of noise as well around the stadium. I'd like to thank you three guys for joining us tonight and helping us out on the panel. It's been absolutely brilliant to hear you on tonight. I'd also like to thank Alex Kelly, Blue Horizon, Peter, Big Al. If I missed him, I don't think so, have I? Yeah, but apart from that, I'd also like to send our condolences once again to Jimmy Bell and his family, for everyone here at Rangers Radio. We'll be back. I'd like to thank Old School Blue and Fox for doing the technicals as always. And on Wednesday night, you'll be joined by Linda and friends. So come on, the Rangers. Let's do this on Thursday. We are the people. Take it away, Old School Blue.
There were cheers from the crowded congregation as the light blues emerged beneath the stand to the sound of the very latest music that was played by the Govan Band. The excitement was tense, the game was starting as the Rangers kicked off amidst the roar. For the yells and shouts were just terrific when the one and only Glasgow Rangers scored. We'll support no other team but Rangers and follow wherever they may go. So drink a toast to Glasgow's football heroes who play in red, white and blue and Dunbar go. The excitement was tense, the game was starting as the Rangers kicked off amidst the roar. For the yells and shouts were just terrific when the one and only Glasgow Rangers scored. We'll support no other team but Rangers and follow wherever they may go. So drink a toast to Glasgow's football heroes who play in red, white and blue and done will go. Who play in red, white and blue and done will go.